Pools and Surfaces Distributor presents our podcast series, Podcasting with Friends, with host Gamma Garcia. Creating synergy, creating the future.
Hi, welcome to today's podcast. Today is a very special day for me. It is a day that I was really looking forward to have this moment, this time, and this opportunity to do this podcast with someone that I had always admired, someone that who's been a great team member with me, someone who's been always there for me, someone that is really an asset in the pool industry, someone who's not only being my mentor, but someone that I really think that brings a lot of value to our industry, and it has brought a lot of value to our industry. A lot of people know him, a lot of people don't know him, a lot of people don't even know who he is. But today we're going to have the opportunity, and we're going to spend some time talking with this individual today, and looking forward for this podcast. And here we are with the legend, Mr. Bruce Torrance. Welcome, Mr. Bruce.
I appreciate the invitation. Thank you. I enjoyed working with you, and we've done a lot of interesting projects. And again, I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, there's a lot of people out there, Bruce, that I always talk to, and I always bring up comments and things about yourself and how you develop products in the industry, how you basically turn the industry around from tiles to cement, plaster finishes, and it's there's a lot of value behind that, Mr. Bruce, and I just want to appreciate that that you've been here today, Bruce. And how's it been for you? How long you been in this, Bruce? How did you get started? How did you start your career in the plaster industry?
I started in 1983 as a sales rep for a small plaster manufacturer in Hialeah, Florida.
Right.
And it went from most of my early experience, I would be 80% selling my product and 20% checking for problems. And within several years, it was the other way around. I was spending 80% out looking at problems,
right,
20% selling the material. And it was just, it turned the industry, everyone embraced that product because they had a lot less warranty issues
Correct,
at the time.
No, I think that was a total, change in the industry when it comes.
It was just a kind of like it was a lucky break for me. I found that bag of sand.
Yeah, exactly.
I just found a bag of sand and it worked, and then that became.
I remember when I think it was in Spain, because we did some traveling together.
Yes.
And during those trips, I learned a lot from you, not only on a personal level, but also, on the professional level. And I was being like a sponge. Every time you tell me something, my mind just opens up, and I'm just absorbing all the information. And I remember when we shared that story in Spain, because Europe, it's all tile.
Sure.
And we told them that story, how you started this finishes, and what we did in Europe, 10 years ago, maybe it could be more than that, I don't recall. But we traveled all over Europe, attending trade shows, and educating people about pool plaster. And in Europe, they were all like very thrilled about what this products can do. So you did a lot, Mr. Bruce, and like I said, a lot of admiration, and my hat off for you, Mr. Bruce.
Thank you very much.
Hey, Mr. Bruce, so where do you see this piece of art equipment fits in the industry, and how useful you think this machine could be for any plaster crews out there to smooth out, pool finishes, do repairs on plaster due to overexposure of the aggregates, or even metal stains, or even getting rid of calcium buildups. Where do you see this machine fitting that that part of the industry?
The use of the machine depends on the problems that are encountered in the field. Many companies have this equipment, the Hydrotorques, to polish a pool from the start. They have a product that's dedicated to being polished. Other companies use it as a repair item.
Right.
Some companies use it just to like polish a spa because the customers get in and they have in their spas, they want it smooth, and maybe the step areas where there's a lot of skin contact, and where there used to be a lot of complaints on exposed aggregates that the ladies had their swimming suits snagged on the little aggregates that were exposed, and that they didn't like that, so it can smooth out benches, steps, where there's a lot of where people stand around a lot in the swimming pool.
Right.
In the shallow end, they can just polish that.
Yeah.
In commercial pools, condominium pools, where they have exercise classes for the residents, the jazzercise,
right,
and everything in the water, they do the where everyone stands in the shallow end and does that. So there's quite a bit of, and as you mentioned, if you have small stained areas,
right,
where in the north, where they have winterized pools, where they close the pool up and winterize it, you have calcium buildup over the, and so in the springtime when they open the pool for the customer, they polish all the calcium buildup off of it.
Yeah.
And so it's very versatile.
That's the word. That's the word. You can. It's got a lot of different usages, and this machine can also do like any type of aggregate, right, Bruce?
Any
I mean,
aggregate.
From quartz to pebble, recycled glass beads, marble-based products, you name it.
You mentioned it. It all depends on what in 20 or 30 years of using this tool and everything is getting the right abrasives that go with the tool, and it's a learning process.
It is.
As we've, when we started with the tool, there were all the diamond pads were all the exposed diamonds on the surface. Now we've gotten to where we have composite pads where the diamonds are all the way through, which are much more long-lived, and they handle more aggressive aggregates like quartz and like the pebbles.
This is called pebble shine.
That's
correct?
called the pebble shine.
Yeah.
And in the future, I'm sure there are going to be more.
Yeah.
We've even used cup wheels with this.
Yeah.
The pebble shine pad I call the poor man's cup wheel because it's lightweight and it does all the work of a cup wheel.
And these pads are interchangeable. They can change from
with Velcro, all Velcro back, and they're interchangeable.
I would use this, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Bruce. I will always say that this one will be great to do like the initial polishing process,
Yes.
Just to get rid of the excess of.
Absolutely.
And kind of like finish it up with this one here, correct?
For sure.
Yeah. So because this is a more aggressive, polishing pad,
Exactly.
Bruce, my next question. I know this is a water-driven machine, so that works. That means that works off of a regular pressure washer. Is there any recommended PSI that do you think this machine can actually work at its best?
There are two factors: is the flow of water that goes into it and the pressure. So there usually we like to have like 3.5 gallons per minute, which would be like 15 liters per minute for anyone on the metric system at 3,500 pounds per square inch. 3,500 to 4,000. And normally the pressure washers that are in the field are the larger pressure washers that you'll find at a home improvement center, such as Home Depot or Lowe's.
Just standard
and the big hardware stores. It's just the one that's like, it used to be like a 13-horse engine. Now they've changed it. I don't know. They're not horsepower anymore. They're cubic centimeters. But it's just the bigger ones, bigger pressure washer at the Home Depots and Lowe's.
And Also, I mean, talking about pressure, the PSI, when you do it underwater, it might require more pressure, right?
You want to run
the machine to spin.
You want to run at maximum pressure underwater.
Underwater. That's great stuff.
Rule of thumb is this does about half as well underwater as it does above water.
Above water.
But you're cutting the power about in half.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I remember when we actually did my pool about 12 years ago.
Yes.
And my next question, just for the average, plaster crew out there, or someone that's never got any experience working with this time frame. I remember we did our entire pool, which is a regular residential pool,
yes.
15 by 30, and we got it knocked out in 3-4 hours, and we plastered the whole pool.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was good. It all depends on the application, how much work you have to do that the applicators leave you.
Yeah. One of the questions that these companies ask me, Bruce, how long do they need to wait to polish a finish? Can you do right after they plaster a pool? What's the waiting time that you might consider? 24, 48 hour time?
Usually overnight.
Overnight.
I recommend overnight. Let it for fresh material.
Right.
Possibly if the plasters, for example, in a very hot area, say like Arizona or California, Nevada in the summer, if they do a pool, they start real early in the morning and they're out of the pool by noon. You could start polishing late that afternoon.
Late that afternoon.
Okay.
Yeah, we get a lot of phone calls from Arizona and Australia. These machines they're very popular over there in Arizona. You've done great work as far as promoting them and getting them out there. And there's people that call us all the time. I'm sure you get some of the same phone calls. They want to learn about the product. They want to they want to get familiar with the operation. So I'm sure that as you and I discussed, maybe we work on something that we can give a tutorial for these people to learn how to operate it. But it's a pretty straightforward machine.
Very easy. It's a very rapid learning process. There's nothing.
It takes 5-10 minutes to get familiar with it. Be comfortable with it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, and as long as you have one of those pressure washers where you can regulate your PSI.
You can always turn your pressure washer down to slow the machine down.
Exactly. And just kind of take it from there. Awesome. Mr. Bruce, what I would like to do next, why don't we do a close-up on this machine so we can just do a brief explanation, 2-3 minute explanation about the operation and what this machine does. So let's do a close-up here.
The operation of this tool is very straightforward, very simple. Water comes through the tool, through the trigger, spins the pad, and the handle is adjustable, so you can do vertically in a spa area, tight area, all the way down to do the walls, vertical surfaces. The water exhausts out here. It also exhausts through the center of the tool. It keeps your work area clean. It prolongs the life of the diamonds that are on your pads. It's very simple. It weighs, it's very lightweight compared to the earlier models. Earlier models were about 11 pounds. This is about 5. So it's half the weight of the original tools that were. It can be used as a right angle grinder by hand. It also can be a floor tool by removing this handle and placing a extension handle. It can be left-handed, right-handed. It's adjustable to the height of the operator. And what's kind of great about this with the extension is that if you're doing a shallow area in a pool to correct roughness, as we were talking about, commercial pools, condominium pools, to smooth it out, you don't have to have a diver do it. They can stand in the shallow areas.
In the shallow area.
We've had a lot of applications applicators do that.
Right.
Because it increases the productivity and it doesn't tire them as much as being underwater.
Absolutely.
By hand.
And then we have the pads right here, right?
We have the different
interchangeable.
pads, interchangeable for whatever surface you're working on.
And these little hand pads right here.
Little hand pads are available to do small areas, like the risers on the steps,
Right.
or corners, real small corners, and they come in different grits.
Areas like when you got a like a border water line tile, you don't want to get close with with that machine to the glass tile, so you use this instead.
This will get within about 1/8 of an inch of your tile line on a pool.
Right.
So, but a lot of applicators will give themselves maybe a quarter inch.
Yeah.
Or more. So if there's an objection by the customer, you can use a hand pad.
Right.
A lot of contractors give their customer a hand pad. Just don't call us. You got a little rough area.
Exactly.
Do that, and customers
kind of
love
like
it.
do yourself. That's great.
Exactly.
Great stuff. Well, thanks, Mr. Bruce. Thanks for this brief explanation about the operation of the machine. Thanks very much again, Mr. Bruce.
Well, thank you for including me.
Bruce, thanks for this presentation you did to us about the tool. And well, it's time to start getting things wrapped up. I wanted to thank you and appreciate that you came out here, Mr. Bruce, and spent some time with us. Talking about your, the tools and all the different things that you have done in the pool industry. There's no words of admiration and words of I'm so grateful for speaking in behalf of myself, what you've done in my life, and you mean a lot to us, our company, and our family, and we consider you part of the family, Mr. Bruce.
Well, thanks.
Thanks very much for being here. I appreciate
Well, thank
it.
you very much, and thank you for giving me the opportunity, and thank you for your innovation and your forward-looking approach to pool finishes and to promoting improvements in doing it. There's always a better way.
Absolutely.
That story about the mousetrap. So there's always going to be a better mousetrap, and I appreciate your efforts to continue the progress of the industry.
Well, thanks, Mr. Bruce.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks again. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Reach out, touch faith.